Professional lighting here you got.
Hi, Elsie. Hey, guys. Welcome to Stuck in the Man Cave. These are 10-minute honest talks about cancer, COVID, and isolation. And I am Trevor Maxwell. I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor. I recently launched Man Up to Cancer, which is a purpose-driven company that empowers men to reach out and avoid isolation during our cancer journeys. Cancer and COVID can be a double punch of isolation, so I want to talk about it. All right, today we have Joe Bullock. Joe Bullock lives with, say hi, Joe.
Hey, how you doing?
Joe Bullock lives with his wife, 2 teenage kids in is it Durham, North Carolina? Do I get that right?
It is Durham, North Carolina, yeah.
Durham, North Carolina. He's a pre-K teacher, cancer survivor, and I'm proud to say he is the lead administrator of Man Up to Cancer's Howling Place, our Facebook group for men who are impacted by cancer. I had a cheat sheet there because I wanted to introduce him. All right, go. Hey, Joe.
Hey, what's up?
So, all right, let's talk about the Howling Place. So we started this thing on right around January 1st of this year.
Yep. And
this is a Facebook group for men impacted by cancer, and men impacted by cancer can feel isolation in their lives, just in general, right? So tell me tell me a little bit about the start of the Howling Place and why that was a mission for you.
Well, for one thing, when I was diagnosed back in June of 2018, I just kind of started, searching groups, getting information.
Yeah.
But then I slowly kind of noticed that it was a lot of women that were bringing the information to me.
Right.
And I kind of slowly, between different groups, actually started meeting some men, not many. And then I kind of started friend requesting men off Facebook in these groups. And I found that as things went on, that I actually started receiving a couple of personal messages when I would post something, whatever I was going through that day, whatever I was going through with the chemo or doubts I was having. A couple of the guys would just send me private messages, just of encouragement.
Nice.
I remember one night in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep. I was just awake, and I just posted something like, it might have been in Town, I can't remember, but
yeah,
is anybody awake, kind of thing. And I remember one of the guys from, I think he was in France, just sent me a personal message saying, "Hey, I'm awake too. What's going on?" And just started sharing with him about how I felt, and just I couldn't sleep and was frustrated. And he just really took the time to encourage me, and I saw that as just so important. And I had a couple of other opportunities with that going over the months that I was going through chemo. And when I became cancer free or NED in February of 2019, I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do with that. Like I didn't know, because here I am cancer free, not really dealing with cancer anymore, particularly, other than some of the side effects and things that go along with chemotherapy.
Sure.
But I knew I wanted to have some sort of impact. And I had tried a couple of things, and nothing was quite working out, like to make this happen. I wanted to do something with men.
Yep.
Because I felt like there was a need. Because men, like you're saying, men tend to self-isolate. We don't really want to talk about our cancer. I had been going to a local support group, but most of the men there, honestly, all they wanted to talk about was their cancer story.
Right.
They really didn't want to. It was almost like they were being kind of forced to say it. It wasn't. You would go around the room, and our therapist would be like, "Okay, it's your turn to share," basically, and they would kind of share their story, but you could tell they were kind of being forced to share it.
So immediately and we call it the Wolf Pack, immediately once that Facebook group opened and you started inviting your network in, I know what the response was, but tell the people watching this what the response was from men out there.
Oh, it was incredible. Like, I was really surprised. I mean, I probably had collected over that 8 or 9 month period about 150 men I had friend requested on Facebook. And when you called me and just said, hey, let's get this thing kind of started. And I was like, okay. So I just basically said, just kind of hit invite and just invited all these guys. I never really thought we would get the response we were getting.
Right.
A lot of them being men, I thought, well, men typically don't respond to these kind of things very
That's right.
quickly. You know, it's like
Right.
that's why you don't see them in these groups. They don't really friend request people. Um, they don't partake in these groups necessarily. Most of the time it's the wives who are trying to get help, or their partners. It's not them themselves, because they don't want to talk about it or
Yeah,
deal with it.
absolutely. And I think one of the things that you really brought to the group was the vibe of being like, so there's certain type of cancer support groups out there that are very, I mean, I don't want to, they can be depressing. It can be a lot
Right.
of negativity, a lot of down talk,
Negativity.
and there's a
Right.
place for that emotion for sure. But one thing that
Yeah.
you keep reminding me too is that our group needs to be about the ups, the downs, the roller coaster, our lives outside of cancer or beyond cancer, the things that
Right.
we do that are just, that we all can just celebrate, and even the small wins, you know, about living while facing cancer. So,
Right.
so fast forward to COVID. So we started this as an anti-isolation thing, and then along
Right.
comes COVID-19 and coronavirus, and all of a sudden we're stuck in our man caves.
Right.
Certainly nothing we could have predicted or expected. But then all of a sudden, and
Right.
now we have more than 500 men from around the country and the world. I think there's 7 or 8 countries represented in the
Yeah.
Facebook group,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden most of the people in there are kind of in this weird stay-at-home thing, and they're worried about their own health. There's this other level of
Yep.
isolation going on. Is that what,
Mhm.
I mean, that really reflects what's going on in the group from what you see as the administrator, right?
Well, it does. And I can remember when I was first diagnosed, and I remember sitting down with my oncologist and him telling me, to think about where you're going. If you fly on a plane, he remembered telling me you need to get some mask. And I remember him saying, like, if you fly on a plane, you need to wear a mask. If you're going on a bus, you need to wear a mask. In
Right.
places where you're going to be in tight quarters, you need to wear a mask. And I remember things like just him saying the best thing for you to do, honestly, for the next 6 months is to stay home. He was just like, you need to stay home.
Right.
And that rid us. And when we went into this whole thing with COVID, it just, all of that, it was like the PSTD of all of it, of just remembering his words and saying, you need to stay home. You need to make sure, even today, before COVID, I was like this fast food junkie. I would go to fast food restaurants all the time. But since finishing cancer, I very rarely will go to a fast food restaurant. It's
Sure.
almost like I can't. Yeah, it's just the idea of being around someone else who's prepared the food and worrying about. And now it's like we're right. We're putting in self-isolation. We're afraid to go out in
Yeah,
a
I feel
lot of
like I feel like just when we're starting to like get men to open up a little bit and kind of
right.
communicate, not isolate, now all of a sudden people are feeling like trapped in the walls or anything. So you've done some really cool stuff as the admin to come up with ways to, really engage the group and try to tackle that isolation issue. Talk a little bit about what your thoughts have been to
Well,
guys connected.
I think just encouraging the guys to send personal messages was one of the ones I had posted about. Uh, I myself probably get about 2 personal messages a day. I found from the guys in the group,
Yeah.
just guys who are just reaching out, wanting to share how they're doing, but then wondering how I'm doing. And starting the Zoom meetings, and originally I didn't know how they would go. I honestly didn't know how men would respond to those, because that's not something guys typically want to do.
So
But I think we've had
you've been organizing a weekly Zoom meeting, and then a weekly hangout Zoom meeting for the group on Friday, and then
on
also
Friday.
some topical meetings
Mhm.
during the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because a couple of the guys had said they would like to do some topics, so we just have been kind of throwing a couple out there, just to meet the need.
And just to remind folks that the Man Up to Cancer the Facebook group we're talking about is for all men impacted by cancer, no matter what cancer you have, no matter what stage you're in, or if you don't have cancer, if you're a male who's a caregiver, if you're a male who's a friend or an ally,
Yeah.
you're welcome to join our group as well.
Right.
So I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to make sure that I keep the the 10 minutes
Talk.
right here.
Right.
So I'm gonna put you. Well, actually, I do have to say a couple things. I'm loving the lighting on your Zoom today because last time I was in a Zoom meeting for you, the curtains were drawn.
Oh,
It was
my
very
office.
dark,
Yeah.
and I want you to tell our audience tonight that you are not in the witness protection program.
I'm not in the witness protection program
Are you
at
sure?
all. No,
I feel
I'm
like
not.
you might be. Okay.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
two, the hairdressers are missing your beautiful locks because
Right.
it's the nicest hair in North Carolina. Are
It
you gonna
is.
deny
Yeah.
that?
It's crazy. Exactly. Exactly. I had to go comb it up before I even got on here with you. It was kind of crazy.
I'm just jealous. I have to wear a hat because if I had hair like that, I never would. Okay, Joe, I'm going to put you on the Stuck in the Man Cave hot seat. So,
Okay.
quick fire questions. Life goal of yours that you still have on the someday list.
To travel to England.
What keeps you up at night?
Worried about reoccurrence.
What personal standards have gone out the window during stay-at-home time? Now, this could be binging TV, personal hygiene, all ice cream diet, all three, whatever you want. You need to be honest here.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, all three. I mean, just not having the concern at all, which is not good. Yeah, exactly. Don't really care about what I eat. I mean,
Yeah.
just it's somebody told me the other day. Someone said to me the other day, "Where you are is exactly where you need to be. Don't worry about." You're not enough or not doing enough, or just be where you are, kind of thing.
And do you have a
Yeah.
show recommendation for me because I'm running thin?
I don't know. Lately, see, what did I watch last night? What did I watch
I'm going
on
to give
Netflix?
you
It
one.
was that.
I watched Planet Earth. Planet
Yes.
Earth documentary with they were doing the wolves in Yellowstone last night, so that was really cool.
Oh, cool.
So did you have something you were into?
Nothing this week, really. Honestly,
Okay.
no. Nothing this week.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm open for recommendations, brother.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Sounds good. Thank
All
you,
right.
Trevor.
Take care, Joe.
All right. Thanks, Trevor.
Bye.